Hello? Is there anyone out there? Is anyone listening? Welcome to Dear Alienz. I am your host, Molly, resident Sprite drinker, pop culture enthusiast, and a storyteller. Thank you all so much for tuning in. This is the third episode, and I just want to start off by saying that I feel very blessed to be here because it's very hard, and it's actually a lot harder than I thought to consistently put myself out there and, you know, be authentic. It's very hard to do that knowing that people aren't always going to agree or like what you have to say, but I just feel like it's making me a better person as well. So I think I'll just see where I grow and what happens on this journey. But we'll jump right in. I'll tell you all about the topics that make me want to get beamed up. I can't even wait to jump into this first one. It is trains. Thomas the Tank Engine, I'm coming for you. This is Apollo versus Rocky. I am Apollo. You are Rocky. You are going down because I will not be done dirty by trains anymore. From almost missing a consistent train that comes at the same time every day, being separated on the DC subway, to the highest of train betrayals. And I'll share some of them with you. The first one I want to dive into is the story. If it had a tagline, it would be called Best Day Ever. And it might be confusing because this is about why trains are awful. But we'll jump right in. So, on this one day, we had traveled downtown, then we got on the subway to go visit this university. And after the college visit, we were walking back and we were like, let's chill in the city before we get back on our train. And one of my friends turns to us and she goes, yeah, I don't have any money. And the other two of us were like, oh, this is bad, because collectively between the two of us, we had maybe $7, which was just enough for each of us individually to get back into downtown and then on the train back to the suburbs. So we were kind of just looking at each other and we're just like, oh, we'll work it out. Like, it'll be fine. We're like, we'll sneak around to the subway. We'll, I don't know, get a trench coat and act like we're just one really tall person. We were just like, don't even worry about it. Like, it'll be fine. I don't know how we just went with the flow like that, but we were just like, it'll work out. And when we get within 2 blocks of the subway station, we see something on the ground and we're like, what is that? And we're the type of friends that if we see a literal quarter on the street, we will be wrestling over it. Like, there is no money that is not worth picking up. So we're like, what is that on the ground? We get closer. It's a $5 bill. Oh my goodness. It felt like a rainbow came out, like the angels were singing. We were like, it always works out. We're so excited. We're like, we're going to be able to ride the subway. No more worries. We pick it up. And guess what's wrapped inside the $5 bill? A $20 bill. So now we're like, we're balling out. We feel like millionaires. We're like, we're Jeff Bezos out here. Like, he has nothing on us with us and our $25. We are hyped. Like, we are full on dance party on the side of the street. We get over to the subway. We're still dancing, hyping our way through, and we go to buy our subway tickets. And the attendee comes over and she's like, yo, no. There's something going on today. Like, everyone's riding the subway for free. And we're like, oh, for free? We're like, celebrity service? Is this what first class feels like? So we walk through, we act like we are dripping in diamonds, like we are royalty. And we were like, we have to share how good this day is with the world. So we send out this tweet and we're like, all caps, period after each word, best day ever. We're doing like the Cabbage Patch up on the platform waiting for the subway to pull up. And 2 minutes after we post this tweet, it becomes public knowledge that Robin Williams has passed away. Oh my goodness. We went straight from like dancing, hyped, like best day ever, chanting, to crying. We are heartbroken. We are like, oh my gosh. Like, night at the museum, not. We were distraught. We were like, they took a good one from us. We all had to watch Dead Poets Society. We were all traumatized by that. So we're like, we gotta delete that tweet. We could not believe that we had just tweeted best day ever, and then immediately it became public knowledge that Robin Williams passed away. We looked like jerks, and that's putting it lightly. Train journeys will forever be interesting. There was a train trip that I took from Boston to Chicago, and then from Chicago back to Boston. And let me tell you, if there's one experience I cannot recommend, it would be taking a train that is going to be. I would never get on a train again if I don't know if I can get off the train within the next probably 6 to 8 hours. Like 6 hours really feels like my max. I could do 8 if I nap for at least 5 of those hours. But when I went from Boston to Chicago, I did not get a bed. People were like, "Oh, did you get one of those train like beds?" No. Do you know how expensive it is to get one of those little beds on the train? And then half the time you have to share it with a stranger? Like, this is not college. I did not pay to share with a stranger. I mean, I guess I did. I don't know. Whatever the rules are. It's just as expensive to have a bed on a train as it is to get on a flight. It's like not even worth it, basically. So I had a seat. I've got 2 suitcases, my backpack, and I've got a seat. And I did not get up for 24 hours. I did not use the bathroom. I did not eat food. I thought that if I got up to even just use the bathroom in the train car, that someone would try to steal my suitcase or try to steal my laptop out of my backpack. And yes, I could have brought my backpack to the bathroom, but I was absolutely convinced. I was like, I'm going to get robbed. And that wasn't even like the worst part of the trip, the fact that I didn't eat or pee, the fact that I didn't eat or pee for 24 hours. It was the fact that I think it took so long because every 3 hours we had to stop for 25 minutes so that the smokers could step off the train and have a smoke break. I really hope that if you had to take a smoke break on this train, you paid more for your ticket because the inconvenience it brought to me will never be forgotten. I was like, really? I was like, we prioritize these smokers this much? I was so mad, like big mad. That was a terrible time. I will never do that again. But then I did have to take the train. I did have to take the train back from Chicago to Boston, and that one went a little bit better. And by a little bit better, I mean I wasn't as scared as I was the first time. I brought snacks. I still wasn't comfortable getting up and like going to the food car and leaving my items. And also, my backpack was very bulky. And as we've learned, I hate to carry things. So I didn't want to be bulking around this train trying to grab some food that I actually don't care about eating. So I was sitting across from this old lady, and she was very nice, but she would not stop talking. And I'm like, when I even fly with my friends, when we get to the airport and we get past TSA, do not talk to me. Do not talk to me until we land in our destination. When we get off the flight there and we're walking towards baggage claim, let's start the chatting. Until then, do not speak to me. And also, I'm a person that I will not book a seat like next to my friends because I don't want to hurt their feelings. Like, I don't want them to feel bad that I don't want to talk to them because it's not personal. I just need to do my own thing. So I'm on this train just trying to do my own thing. And this woman, she's like, I want to talk. I want to talk. She is like traveling the country, trying to get people to vote for Bernie Sanders. She gives me a bunch of pins. I was very into Bernie at the time. So I was like, yeah, give me all the pins. And then she is like, yeah, we got to save the earth. I've got solar panels. She was like, they're expensive to put in, but like, in the long term investment, I'm like, lady, I am 18. Do not talk to me about long term investments. I don't even understand the loans I just took out so I could go to college. She's like, you should come see the solar panels. And I was like, yeah, sure. Like, no, absolutely not. And at one point, she gets up and she goes to the food car. And I'm like, solace. And I like put my earbuds in. And I was like, finally, I can listen to some music, maybe watch a little TV on my phone. She comes back, and now I'm a jerk. And let me tell you why I was the jerk. Because she brought me back a tea, and that was so lovely, but also in retrospect, scary because knowing what I now know about the world, she could have been someone very scary or dangerous in our world. So I wouldn't have taken it now, or I would have and, like, pretended to drink it and, like, ended up pouring it out later, but I was like, "Oh my gosh, this is so nice," and when we were at some point in New York, we had to switch trains. Some people just got off the train and left, other people, you had to switch trains, and I was one of those people who had to switch. And she was like, "Oh, this is my stop. Like, this is where I live." She was like, "Don't forget to come and visit me." She's like writing her address on her business card and handing it to me. And I was like, "Yeah, of course." I'm probably going to throw this business card out. But then she hands me $500. And immediately I was like, I cannot accept this. Like, this is far too much. Like, I cannot even accept a cent from you. Like, I was like, your company was more than enough. And she was like, I'm not married. I don't have any children. She was like, I don't have any nieces or nephews. She was like, I have more than enough money. She was like, you're a college student. I know you're working hard. She was like, please take this money. She was like, I will not accept it back. And then she just like kind of rolls out. And I'm standing there. I'm so uncomfortable, but now I have $500. It was just so odd. I do not know what to make of it to this day, but I do kind of feel like in present day moment, I did pass up the perfect moment to get a sugar mama. So, slight regret, yeah. Major regret overall, no. I mean, the major regret is taking the train, period. Like, I find it more tolerable to drive across the country than I would to ever take the train again. Train travel. Why can't we have come up with teleportation travel? It's all I'm asking for. I'm not asking for a lot. I will jump straight left and go into our next topic. And it still has to do with transportation. So we're not even going that crazy off topic when I think about it. It is bicycles and cyclists. And you know what? I'm not going to pour one out for the people who bike to work. I don't think that's impressive. Like, you are choosing to get sweaty that early in the morning. And also, like, you're choosing to take, I would say, one of the most dangerous ways to transport yourself because cyclists are always risking their biscuit. Like, let's not act like we don't know. Like, they act like they're trying to film a clip for AFV or MTV's ridiculousness. Like, we don't want to see you scorpion down the street at 9:45 in the morning. Like, sorry, I'm trying to have my breakfast. I want to eat my croissant. I'm not trying to see someone skin their face off their forehead. Like, wilding out. What laws do bike and bikers have to follow? Because I don't know what they're allowed to do, what they're not allowed to do, because drivers said they were like, here are your laws, but they didn't teach you about what laws other types of vehicles have to follow. Like, why are motorcycles allowed to basically feel like they're allowed to do whatever they want? It's dangerous out here. And you know what my solution is? Put the bikes on the sidewalks. Isn't that why they were created? I thought that sidewalks were created for transportation that was not a vehicle. Does that make sense? Like, Do I not actually know the definition or the purpose or why a sidewalk was created? Is there an urban architect out there who can explain to me what the purpose of a sidewalk is? Because I feel like a sidewalk should be for people who are transporting themselves on items that are not like they're not a motor. There's no engine. Like, you can't go faster than 25 miles per hour. And people are always like, oh, well, people need to walk on the sidewalk. Okay, they can keep walking. Like, can't you just, I don't know, step out of the way if a bike is coming? Like, we have bike trails that people walk down, and I'm pretty sure there's not many accidents there. Like, step out of the way. Like, why are we acting like bikes and people can't exist on the same, like, piece of concrete? Because what? We're going to put them back in the street in the bike lane? That's a joke. That's a joke. Bike lanes? Are you kidding me? Bike lanes are basically death lanes. That's what I would call them. Because one, people don't obey them. And you know what? A car will just drive into the bike lane, like left, right, and central. They do not care. When they paint the bike lane with that weird oil-based paint where it makes it shiny, how is a tire not supposed to slip on that? So now the bike is sliding into the street and the person is getting run over. Now we're ruining multiple lives. Someone explained to me why this was created the way that it was, because it drives me crazy. If I was president, if I became president, the first thing I would do is ban bikes. Bikes would become illegal. I would be like, collect the bikes, turn your bikes in for money, kind of like what they do for guns. Not in this country, in other countries where they care about gun control. And we'll be like, bring your bikes. You can get some money for them. $40, $30. You want a gift card to Wendy's? We'll give you that too. We're going to melt the bikes down. I don't know what we're going to turn them into. We'll recycle them into something, but no more bikes. I can't stand these bike accidents. Get the bikes out of the streets. And you're probably like, well, what about one of those electric bikes? Where do those fall? Man, I don't know. I don't know. I don't have all the answers. I'm just out here pointing out some problems. Sometimes I bring solutions. Sometimes I bring problems. It's not my job. I mean, if I could become a city planner right now with absolutely no training, no education, I absolutely would, because I would get rid of the bike lane. Because why are people having to bike across the highway? Who thought of that? Who said, yeah, I'm just going to have this bike cross the highway. I'm just going to have this bike cross the on-ramp. Bikers, do we even know what the right of way is? Because someone going on an on-ramp is not going to be able to slam on their brakes before they hit the biker if the biker is just like, well, I feel like going. So now there's an accident on the on-ramp, and now no one can get on the highway because someone thought it was smart to have a bike lane cross the highway. It's literally like playing leapfrog. And I know that all of us played with leapfrog. I know we're experts, but I don't know how it would fare in real life. Bikes really just take me to the next level. Bikes are up there with coleslaw, fedoras, and flip-flops. I'm out. I'm not trying to ride a bike. I'm not trying to commute anywhere on a bike. I think it's dangerous. But you know what? To each their own. We all have different things that we like and dislike. And I'm going to take this opportunity to just dive straight into the next topic. And I mean dive literally, because we're going to talk about swimming. Swimming is a very funny part of my life because everything about it has basically been unconventional. I am one of those typical people, I'm in the deep end alone and I'm like, a shark is going to get me. An octopus is going to pull me under. Girl, it's a private pool. But I don't know. I just think a portal is going to open up and a sea creature is going to come through and I'm not going to be able to defend myself because I am an emergency swimmer. And you're probably like, what does that mean? Well, let me take you back. Let's go back to the beginning. Let's go back Back to the beginning. Hillary Duff. I hope I don't get copywritten. Not sure about the laws. So when I was 8, I think, I learned to swim in Wisconsin Dells. And you're probably like, what's Wisconsin Dells? Wisconsin Dells is the water park capital of the world, and it is found in Wisconsin. Wisconsin Dells has the latest resorts. Like, it feels like Las Vegas, but for like water resorts. So the best resort to stay at is the Wilderness Resort. Wilderness Resort has my heart, got me by the throat. Thank you forever, Wilderness Resort. I learned to swim in the lazy river. There was one day we were outside and we're next to the lazy river, and I get tossed in. So now I'm dazed. I'm like, oh my God, I was not prepared for this. And then I'm like, oh my God, I cannot swim. And this mom I don't know how I knew she was a mom. It's just like, when you're a child, like, you know what a mom is. You're just like, you see someone, you're like, you're a mom. I know, I can trust you. She's floating by in her tube. I grab onto her. I'm like, I need this mom. My mom is not here. And the person who was, I'll say in quotes, trying to teach me to swim, she yells out and she's like, let go of that mom. And then she's like, Mom, let go of that kid. And I'm like looking at this mom like, do not let me go. And this mom is like looking between the woman and looking at me being like, do I let you go? And I'm like, do not let me go. And I'm not telling her like I cannot swim. I'm sure if I had said that, she would not have let me go. But I was also embarrassed because like all weekend I had been told over and over again that if I kept looking like I was about to drown, they were going to put a life jacket on me. But also like, bro, put the life jacket on me. Clearly I needed it because I could not swim. And I wanted to be able to be a good swimmer because I love the wave pool. And I wasn't allowed in the wave pool if I wasn't a strong swimmer. So I'm in this moment and I let go of this mom. She lets go of me. And now I'm in the current of the lazy river trying to learn how to swim. I'm working against 2 or 3 different things right now. I am scared for my life. So, fight or flight, it is real. I was like, girl, you either live or you drown right now. And I was too embarrassed to drown. So I learned how to swim. Swipe the dirt off my shoulder. I am incredibly proud. I'm someone that's like, if you put me in a make or break situation, I think I will most likely make it. A couple of times, I might break, but like usually I make it out of the pan and into the fire, as I like to say. So now I've learned how to swim in the lazy river. So I'm allowed to go in the wave pool now. And that was when I discovered that wave pools, they're my one true love. Like me and wave pools, OTP, we're the one true pairing. That's like, if I'm ever obscenely wealthy and, I help like end hunger, I make sure that people in Flint have clean water and like all of those other things, I would spend the rest of my money on building a wave pool in my backyard. And I would never have to leave my home again. I would just always be in the wave pool. Like when I want the wave pool turned up to level 10. Like I want to feel at risk. That is the best moment in the wave pool. So I've now have wave pool privileges. I feel like a strong swimmer and I'm having the time of my life. Every single year I'm like, let's get to the resort. I got to get in the wave pool. Like you could not pull me out of that thing. So you would think after years of swimming in the wave pool, having to learn to swim in a very precarious way that made sure you were prepared, you would never be in a situation where you would be like, oh my God, am I going to drown? Oh my God, am I drowning? Because I've been there. So the last story I want to share for today is about the time I almost drowned in the lake. And you're like, you're exaggerating. I'm not exaggerating. And let me walk you through it. Let me set the scene. We're up at the lake. We get in the pontoon boat. We hook the tube up to the pontoon. You're probably wondering, Why were you pontooning? Why were you using a tube? Why were you tubing with a pontoon boat and not a speedboat? I don't have the answer. Don't ask that question. I feel like it was kind of hillbilly-ish, but I love that because I don't think I was actually prepared to be on a tube that was going at the speed that a speedboat could carry you on. So we get out in the lake. We got the tube in the back. We get in there. We're like bop, bop, bopping around. You know what you do in the tube. Eventually we fly off. And the norm, and tell me if I'm incorrect, to my knowledge, I feel like when people fly off the tube, the boat circles back with the tube to the people. So you're just like having to tread water, like in the spot where you fell off until the tube comes back to you. That was not the case. That was not the situation that I walked into. I then hear from like what felt like 1,000 feet away, and I don't actually have an understanding of how far 1,000 feet is, but I'm assuming it's pretty far. 1,000 feet away, swim to the tube. Oh my God. I'm like 12, bro. So I'm like, okay. So I start swimming. I'm Michael Phelps in it through the water. I'm like, let me go, let me go, let me go. I'm swimming forever. And I'm getting tired. But I was like, you're going to be there. No worries. And the tube, it's within arm's length. I'm reaching out. I'm about to grab onto the handle. Yank! Someone on the boat pulled the line that was connected to the tube away as they saw me reaching for it. Like, let's not play. Like, let's examine the facts. If there's one thing that I'm assured of, it's that you saw me reaching out. You did not see me there. Because the next follow-up comment was, swim to the tube again. I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, it felt like a threat. So now I'm swimming. I'm no longer Michael Phelps. I'm Ryan Lochte. I'm just trying to get my way through. And I'm hitting this wall where I'm just like, you know, when runners, they're like, you just got to keep pushing through, just like run through the pain. I'm getting to that point, my head is thumping. I cannot hear, I cannot see. But there's this core part of me that is like, if you don't make it to this tube, if you drown in this lake, you will be so embarrassed. And it's so sad that all of these situations come back to embarrassment, and that's what helps me survive. I'm so tired. I'm swimming forever. And I get to a point where I was like, I really don't know if I'm going to make it. I'm like, I get to the point where I'm so weak, I'm just doggy paddling. And I hear like, Molly, if you don't get to this tube, I'm going to put a life jacket on you. We should have already been wearing life jackets. I'm not sure if it's illegal for us to have not been wearing life jackets, but we should have been wearing life jackets because I would not have been almost drowning if I had been in a life jacket. Because you know what? I would have used my life jacket, floated on my back, and just been backstroking it all around and having the time of my life. And let me just point out another fact. Because we were in an open lake, and yes, I am afraid of most water creatures, I'm like swimming slow because I'm about to drown, but at the same time, I'm trying to swim fast because I'm afraid of the animals in the water. So I'm swimming, I'm using the last of my strength, and I get within arm's length reach of this tube again. And now I'm not playing because I feel like I'm in a do or die situation. If I miss the tube this time, if this person yanks the tube away, it will be the end. And you know what? My mom will sue. That's the number one thing she told me. That if I ever got hurt, even if it was a friend who hurt me, she is suing. So I launch my arm out. I'm not playing. And I grab onto this tube. I use all my strength. I have never breathed so hard. Like, I can still think back to how hard I was trying to catch my breath because I feared for my life. So then they pulled us in. We climb back on the pontoon. I towel off. I put my sweatshirt on. I sit down and I throw the blanket across my legs. And they're like, round two? Are you kidding me? Round two? Man, I just literally had to fight for my life. I couldn't even fight for my life round two if I wanted to. So, hell no, I'm not getting back in the water. Like, oh my, it was actually almost the end for me. Yo, I really feel like I went through it this episode. It's very tiring to relive how much exercise I did when I was young. Like, I'm actually going to maybe need a nap after this. But if you take three things away from the water section of this episode, I hope that it is wave pool is life. Kind of like how ball is life. Wave pool is life. And the lazy river is where it is at. You'll never be more content, more happy, and more peaceful than when you're in a lazy river. Unless it's during the time that the children are also allowed in the lazy river, then it is pure chaos. Thank you all so much for listening to this episode. I hope you laughed. I hope you chuckled. Even if it just brought a smile to your face, that brings me a tantum amount of joy. Thank you all so much for tuning in. I hope you'll choose to listen again. And if you're listening up there, my address is 1 West 58th Street, New York, New York, and I will be on the tippy top floor waiting for your pickup.